Howdy everyone, Nimby here. Today we're going to be tying up some black Lindsay's. Hey Robert. Well, you didn't miss this one. You bounced in there before I got my thread on the hook. Morning, eh? Yeah, we're doing up some black Lindsay's. They're not black whatsoever. They came from a gentleman named Judge Black from around the Lindsay, California area around 1919. So they're over 100 years old now. They're also they're more common up here because they were heavily fished by. Ah, good for you, mate. Hope you have a good work day. Finishing up your work day, you must have started pretty early. Yeah, these were popularized, I guess, for lack of a better way to term it, by a local fisherman here named Jack Shaw, who's written and done a number of really good fly tying books. I have them not handy, but they're in my library. I quite enjoy his work. It's an interesting pattern in that it kind of uses a lot of odd color mixes. Like for instance, our tail that we're going to be tying in is going to be blue. The first one I'm doing is going to be a traditional one. Traditionally, I would use hen hackle. So we're just going to be using this blue salmon hen hackle. Oh, it is 240. Okay, so you must be East Coast then. Hey, cool, I got to use one of my new emojis. Yes, Stream Element bot. I will have to actually program you properly at some point. So we're going to take some of the larger ones off the top here. Hey, Cleveland! I haven't seen you in here in a while, mate. Thanks for stopping in. Good to see you, Victoria. Yeah, good to see you, mate. I've not been haunting the regular, had two kids' birthdays to do, so I haven't been haunting my regular stops like Turner's and such. True. Yes, lightning is not cool when you're fishing. I'm just gonna be picking off the fluff here so we can get some decent fibers. There we go. We're gonna be using that for our tail. Like I was saying, it's not a. They did some interesting stuff with flies in the 1900s, like early 1900s. So we're gonna go for a gap length. Yeah, good rain gear is not cheap, and cheap rain gear is not good. Unfortunately. So this one has a dual colored tail, so we're gonna go blue on the bottom. I'm gonna do the tail about half. Yeah, it's about half. I've always wanted to catch burbot. I've never caught any. I've gotten Atlantic salmon and walleye though, for sure. But yeah, burbot's on my bucket list of fish to get at some point. I don't know much about them, I just want to catch one. Pretty sure you can get burbot on fly. If I'm not mistaken, they're kind of more of a predator fish, yeah? Kind of like walleye, I suppose. Just deeper. So we're going with blue there. And it's blue under brown hackle. And for brown hackle, because this doesn't have to be anything special, I'm just going to be using... Is this the one I wanted? I guess so, it's the only one I had out here. So I'm just going to be using brown. This grab bag of brown mixed hen hackle. Because I want something that has a little bit of stiff. I've heard that. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm partial to Atlantic. Pacific, sorry. I'm partial to Pacific salmon. Atlantic gets a lot of, I think, unnecessary gruff because that's generally the species that they use in fish farming. So Atlantic salmon does get a lot of negative publicity for no real good reason because it's associated with all that. Come on out. There we go. Alright. Phew, that's fluffy and messy. Let's get that cram back in there. These little fluffers are floating everywhere. Alright. Yeah! And being that I live in the... Just knocked my headset clean off my head. Okay, there we go. Back. Well, being that I live in the Pacific, that's what I'm used to and familiar with. Okay. Wow. Kind of grabbed one that was a bit on the big side. I probably could have went with way smaller one than this, but I like the kind of reddish brown color on it, so we're going with that. And it looks like it's stiff and wispy enough to make a nice tail at the same time. Since it's a bit more on the wispy side, yeah, I think as far as like the, I want to say oil count, but I guess the correct term would be fat content, and the meat would be yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have less less fat content, so you need a certain amount of fat content to smoke well. I might have to double that up. That's really fine. Yeah, and the other problem too is since they're not native, well, I guess there are, cases where Atlantic salmon have come across, over top or around or migrated. But for the most part, we don't, traditionally get a lot of Atlantic salmon out here in the Pacific. But with all the fish farms that are out here, they're more and more common now because they escape the nets and kind of mix in, and I don't think they can crossbreed. I'm not sure if they can or not, to be honest. But they're more susceptible. I love whitefish, but yeah, unfortunately some of the commercial fishing practices have really put a lot of stress on them. I might switch to a different hen feather because these are a lot more on the thinner side than I was expecting them to be. I got a gob on there and it's not a whole lot. Yeah, it's the I don't know if I'd say I have like an issue with it, but if you're going to keep hundreds of salmon captive in a net in the ocean, like part of your job as the part of your job as the, I guess, host, for lack of a better word, because you're farming them, right? It'd be the same as if you had cattle and you just let them wander all over the place and didn't keep your fences mended. You know, it'd be the same kind of problem, right? So I think the fact that it's in the water and they are lax with that and they get out often and they have a lot of different parasite problems because they're not used to being in the Pacific, so they don't fight off the parasites as well, is really the bigger issue. I don't have a problem with fish farming at all. It's just I think they should that is very true. And that's a hard balance at any time. But I believe there's always a way to get there. And it's in everyone's interest that they find that balance, right? Like, same with land-based farming. Like, if you run too many cows or sheep or anything on the land, you're gonna destroy it. But if you run the right amount on there, all the waste from the animals actually becomes really good soil mitigation. Not only does it till it up, but it also adds fertilizer in that. So we do a lot of, not that we're perfect here in BC, but there's a lot of free-range cattle here. Compromise always does. Alright, so we got tail tied in. Basically, we're just doing the blue feather. Come on now. Blue feather, under brown feather, to get that. Oh, good for you. Yeah, just take it slow and make sure you're enjoying yourself. Those are my two biggest tips. Yeah, profits cause problems with pretty much everything. Trying not to let this spin out on me, but it keeps doing it. There we go. Okay. Alright, so if I can get this the right angle, we're just using some medium silver oval tinsel. Traditional very first couple patterns that Judge Black tied was actually with gold oval tinsel, but I really like the look of the silver, and that's what Jack Shaw and everyone else traditionally tied in. And it just goes really well with the yellow. So we're using silver, so I know that works really well here. And we're just using some thin yellow, like bright. That's almost brighter than a sunflower yellow. I've seen people use everywhere from this bright sunflower yellow. This would be the more common color that they would have used. It is a rabbit hole. Yeah, you hang on to your dad's box, man. That's treasured stuff. You run into any problems, shoot me an email. Uh, hey, mate. Things are good. Just got all the kids' birthdays done. Hey, Robert, yeah, you're lucky to get an Orvis rod. I mean, you're lucky to get an Orvis rod because they basically didn't make any bad ones. So even if you have an entry-level Orvis rod, it's still going to be a nice rod. Hey, so we got some yellow wool tied in. I'm just going to loop one loop behind. I started off with one loop behind the thread, or not thread, the yeah. Anyone wants to hit the subscribe button? I think everyone in here is already subbed, but if you're not, go ahead and give that a tap for me. And I'm just going to be doing touch and turns up, and then we'll go back, add a little bit of taper to this with a second wrap. Tying this on a size 8. 3 times long. The original pattern calls for size 8 2 times. I do have some, but they're not as nice and thick as this hook is, so I don't mind going up one small size like that. Go to about a halfway point there, and then we'll head back. That'll add a nice little taper. No, for sure. Never too old. And yeah, casting classes, I mean, you can go out there and beat your head against the wall trying to learn, but if you can afford the time and the money, it's definitely worth the lack of frustration to learn some basic skills. You can learn a lot on YouTube, don't get me wrong, but when you're dealing with casting, then if you have someone that knows what's going on, at least watching you. You've only been tying for 2 years, man? Wow, I'm impressed. I really thought you were tying for a lot longer than that, to be honest. Now I'm just gonna be spiraling this up. And yeah, like I said, the very traditional, very first patterns used a gold rib, but I really like this silver rib better, and that's what I grew up tying these on. Originally, it was actually tied for a sedge pupa kind of pattern. Yeah, mate, I'm impressed. If you only been tying 2 years, you're doing really good. Not only that, but you put the work in too. Oh, there always is. It's one of those hobbies where you're never gonna get to a point where you're like, yeah, I'm done. That's just not gonna happen. Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing for a beard. I'm gonna tie the beard in before the top just so it's a little easier on me. And we're gonna go with exactly the same gap length. These are just dyed. The next one I do is actually going to be slightly different. I wanted to try some similar but different materials, see how it turns out. So, since this uses mallard as a wing, I have some blue mallard that I use on steelhead flies. Yeah, see you, Robert. Whoop. Good luck today, and good luck for the rest of work. But yeah, these guys here, I'm going to try these instead of that salmon steelhead blue. Yeah, thanks for dropping in. Always a pleasure to have you, mate. Yeah, I'm going to try that other blue, and I'm going to try some pheasant rump. Because no worries. Like if you have a nice pheasant rump like this, you can see it's got very similar colors, right? You got the browns. See if I can get the light to not reflect off the plastic as bad. It's not really picking up the blues as much, but you can get those nice. You can see the very similar greeny blues in there. And then you got the nice, you get the right direction. You got the browns and reds on top. So I really think that you could accomplish a very similar pattern with a pheasant rump. So I might play with that too. But yeah, traditionally they were dyed hen hackle. Not super happy with this hen hackle I grabbed out, but we'll make it do. Just too thin. I was really expecting it to fill in better, but it's really not. That's okay. We'll make it work. Yeah, just super thin. Look at that. Just a second here. I'm gonna get my stacker and just stack a bunch of this. Instead of tying it in multiple times. I'll show you guys in a sec here once I get it relatively together. This is an old and simple tool. My very first one I had, I just made out of a pop can. And the stainless works a little better. It's a little bit less static intensive. But you just lay them in there. You can just give it a little tappy tap, and all the ends will lay together for you. It works really good for lighter material that you can't really put into a hair stacker. But yeah, you just take a little pop can, cut it down. So you got that lip there, and You can find one without too much of a rounded bottom end on it that'll work better too. But these things are cheap. I still literally have the I can get this on there. Price tag. I paid 10 cents for it, so they aren't expensive. But you can make your own for nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with a different. I'm gonna have to go with a different feather. These are way too thin. This is too much work. They look good when they're done, but you need to have almost like half a feather to get enough density in there. That's crazy. That's like half that feather. Doesn't look like anything. It's just super wispy. But it's like, it's still stiff. Like, it's gonna make a great beard. These would actually make really good tail fibers. Dyeing's not something I do a lot. I'd like to, but it just eats up a lot of room. And nice thing about dyeing though is you can save your dye batches and just pour them back into like a Rubbermaid or something to use them again. And you can get that exact, well, hopefully, if you get it done right, you can get that exact color you're looking for, or unique colors. There, okay, I'm happy with that. That turned out good. So yeah, that's what you're looking for, is you want to see that brown bottom that kind of shows through the transparent blue like that, so it's a little bit not quite mixed, but the two of them contrast really well. That's what you're looking for. And I'm not sure why that works or what that imitates, but it works real well. There we go. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the pretty part, which is the peacock swordtail. This one has a peacock swordtail underwing and then a mallard flank overwing. This stuff is really cool. I really wish there was more flies you could tie with it. I mean, you could probably come up with your own, but for traditional flies, there aren't really a whole lot. A lot less than you think there would be. Okay, we want this to come back. I'm actually gonna need some of these bigger ones. I thought these would be too big. Hey Yoshi, welcome back, man. Doing up some black Olinzies today. That's probably good. Yeah, this is very similar to Alexandria. That's one of my other favorite flies to tie with these, actually. Very traditional for this area, Alexandria. So they came from the Fraser. As I'm dropping them everywhere. Just hold on. 108, good for you. I'm proud to be one of those 108. Yeah, you need, what is it, 50 to do your first live stream, so you're well over that. First 100 is probably the hardest, to be honest. Yeah, that's probably it. You don't need a whole lot for the underwing. It's just to show through the color from the bottom. We want to have it going just past the tail. Cool, I haven't caught one, but I'm definitely going to if I'm around. I'm glad that's working out for you, though. Such a pretty feather. Said I really wish there was more patterns. Yep. Alexandria is a very classic one that uses these. Might have to actually, I'm gonna move my, if I can do this without knocking everything sideways or getting too out of focus. I'm just gonna move it back a hair so you can see more. There we go, that's a little better. Looks like it's still, yeah, we're still in focus. Oh yeah, I'll be here, Yoshi. Have a good one. See you in 5 or 10. Okay, so that's good. We want it to have it flare out a little bit on either side. You can see there. You don't want it all on top, because the main reason for it is from the bottom. You want to have a little bit of that green flashing through. And you want to have it about like scissor length, hanging out past the tail. Didn't realize how long this one was going to be, so let's see if I got it long enough. Should have some. Might have to grab my other bag of. I just grabbed this one. It had some nice looking silver mallard in it. These are going to be your mallard flanks and your breasts. Looks like most of these are breasts. Let's see if I can snag out a longer one here. So I think that one I wanted to use is going to be a hair short. There we be. That's a nice long one. That'll do. I normally save my longer ones for like the steelhead flies, but this is a pretty fly, so it's going to get. Yeah. I like the color on this one. They traditionally had like a really light, the lighter mallard compared to the more bronze mallard. But see the difference in the two there. It's very slight, but maybe I'll use this other one here. The first one's more of a breast feather. This one's a flank. Pull off all the fluff. Later, thanks for dropping in, eh? A little bit of damage on the one side here. I'm just pulling that out. Okay, and we're going to need a fair bit of this. It doesn't call for it in the original recipe, but what I'm going to do here is take a little bit from the left and the right side of the feather, so we have... I'm going to take these guys off here too, so we can get down to the same level. Again, it doesn't call for this. You can just tent it or ball it up or fold it. Save that little bit there, I might need that. I'm going to be taking a slip from the left and a slip from the right side, put them together, and put it over top. Just seems to work better. So we're going to double it up. And I'm going to try and get this to be a gap height. Yeah, it's about gap height. The length of your gap. And we're going to go for more of a wing on it. Okay, got that pulled. Do the same on the other side, and we'll put them together. That's not going to make a perfect wing by any means, because the left side and the right side of the feather on a flank are curved differently. So, but I find that this works good. So same thing, gap height. Try and get it to stay together. There we go. Pop it off. The more difficult part is going to be to get these to stay happily together. Got the two there. There we go. You see the two of them are together now. We got a left and a right. Not necessary whatsoever. You can just take one side and glop it on top. Just find this makes a really nice kind of tented wing. Okay, we're going to do a pinch wrap to get this guy in, so we're going to bring it up, pinch it between our thumb and our finger, drop it down. Most important part of the pinch wrap is that your thread is in the same spot on either side or it'll go sideways on you. Then just pull it right down. And trust yourself and then get a wrap in. There we go. There, she's a beauty. That turned out well. One or two little fibers that I decided to take off, but overall that worked out real well. 3 more wraps heading back just to lock it in. Be honest, my side looks a little better than your guys' side, but it still looks good. I just like the way my side looks. That's okay. Alright, and then we're just going to, when you're dealing with a cutoff like this, you don't want to wrap from this side down towards the eye or it'll just keep slipping on you. You can take a few wraps and kind of budge them into those feather fibers there. But the easier way to do it like this, you can kind of take it, cut it in half, lock it down. But you really want to take it from the eye and move it back, and then it will create a step and crush it, and it won't be sliding all over the place. You won't change the way your wing is sitting either, but you do want to hold your wing while you're doing this first part. You'll end up with that kind of classic bald streamer head if you get it right. Which looks good on my side. Yeah, the camera says it looks good on your side too. You'll see what I mean when I spin the fly. I just kind of like the way that the wing covered a bit more of that peacock hackle on my side. So I must have had maybe 3 or 4 more fibers on one side of that pole than the other. But that's just me being critical. Still looks really good. No. Okay, well I did get some half hitches in there, so we're gonna call that. I didn't get my whip finish. That's okay. We'll head cement. It's gonna get lacquer and head cement, so it's not going anywhere. With these kind of flies that you're fishing wet, that have a larger head on them too, like this, it's, in my opinion, it's somewhat important to do both lacquer and head cement. The head cement will soak in to the thread fibers more than the lacquer will. The lacquer will just sit on top. That makes it shiny, gives it a protective coating. But you give this about 30 seconds and it's gonna dull up and it's gonna soak right into those thread fibers, and it'll actually start to melt the acetone in it. It will melt the wax on the thread and give you a much firmer solid words escape me. It'll fix the head better. And the lacquer will make it look pretty. There we go, I can see it a little better there. Yeah, so that's a black Lindsay, and you can see there I got the wing just covering that peacock a hair more. I could fix it with my bodkin on the other side. It just tinted over the one side a little better. Definitely something I can fix in a second once the head's nice and dry. Yeah, that's a black Lindsay. Very similar to Alexandria. I'm not sure who brought that one up, but that is one of my faves. Yeah, these work like any of your common trout variants. These things work deadly. And being that it's over like 100-year-old pattern, obviously people wouldn't keep tying if it didn't work. Okay, so now that that's soaked in and it should set, we're going to do a dab of Sally Hansen's on top of that. That'll give it the shine and the protection. Yeah, if you're new and you're learning, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just doing half hitches on your flies. I did that for many years before I picked up whip finishing. And whip finishing is just a bunch of half hitches. It's the same knot, just faster and convenient, and there's a few other things you can do with whip finish that you can't do with just a line of half hitches. I like to have that kind of thorax bump where it has a nice kind of cigar taper there. Traditionally, would have just done a single taper right across the whole fly. I just always find those seem to fish and look better. Need to adjust my beard a little bit there too. It's a little one-sided. But that won't be hard to do. Once this head dries anyway. That's really pretty. I like the way that brown and the blue mix together like that. I'm not sure how that represents the insect it's supposed to be representing, but it works. Anything with peacock on it's just deadly. Always good to have you. You too, mate. Enjoy your life. Hopefully it goes out well for you today. I think I might actually just skip off on the one here today and get some lunch. Thanks for dropping in, everyone. Appreciate it. That's your Black Olinzy from 1919 from Judge Black from the Lindsay, California area. But it was very popular up here in the interior BC. Thanks for stopping in all. Appreciate it. Have a good day. We'll see you later.